All right, welcome to Money Club Mondays, which is the private money club weekly webinar that we do where we talk about private money club deals. We talk about private lending. We talk about borrowing money and everything related to the private money club. If you're new to this, the private money club is something that Chris and I have put together, basically a place where borrowers can meet lenders, lenders can meet borrowers. And when you put deals together with the means to fund them and the funds together with the deals that are getting done, magic happens. And that's what the private money club is all about, the heads and tails and the outside edge of that coin.
There is a nationwide scramble to get more doses of the
COVID-19 has battered the global economy, causing the worst recession since the Great Depression of the 1930s.
Today, I'm signing an executive order that directs the whole of government
into evaluating deals, and if you're a lender, ways to look at different types of flips and how to determine whether that's a deal that you'd like to lend your money on or not. So if you're a borrower, pay attention to what lenders, what their psychology is like. What are lenders thinking about? Like, if I'm a lender, why would I lend you my money? And as a borrower, that's what you want to build into your perfect loan proposals and your deal templates, things that make you look like somebody that I, as a lender, would want to lend my money to. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you have any questions as we go, please put them in the Q&A box, or feel free to put them in the comment box, and I'll try and keep an eye on that as well as we get going. It's a little tougher when I'm sharing my screen. So if you can throw them in the Q&A box, it should give me a little alert there, and I can answer those as we roll. So keep in mind, when you are a lender, that you can lend from multiple different places. So we talk a lot about self-directed retirement accounts. Chris Naugle came out with a bold prediction this weekend, and he thinks that the stock market's going to see a pretty hefty decline this week. We came out Monday morning roaring. I think last time I looked, we were up like 500 points. Who knows what's happening after losing, I think, around 1,000 points last week in the Dow. Come out Monday in a high. We have a feeling that it's going to be, like when you're lifted up in professional wrestling and then you're slammed to the mats. We have a feeling that's what's going to happen this week with the stock market. So if you got money in stocks, keep that in mind. We think that we're going to see a little correction coming this week or very, very soon. So what are your alternatives? Well, the private money club, real estate lending, private lending on real estate backed assets might be a good solution for some of your money to move out of the stock market into other options. And we think this might be a good one. So today we're going to talk about how to evaluate those deals and make that make sense. So you can, like I said, if you have a self-directed IRA, it's a great source of funds. If you have an infinite banking whole life policy, great place to take money out of that, take the loan out of that and lend that out, make the money in the spread. You could be using a HELOC to lend money out, a home equity line of credit. Maybe you have a 401k loan. Maybe you just have cash or savings sitting around that's not growing. You want to get it out there working for you. But that's what the private money club is have that money out there working for you just as hard as you work to get that money in the first place at all times. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive in. Well, first off, let me ask this. Does anybody have a deal right now that they're looking at? Does anybody have a deal that they're actively evaluating? I'm just curious. Just put a yes if you have a deal that you're considering lending on right now. Because what I'm going to do today is I'm going to use some past deals, just because not everybody on this webinar, and this goes on YouTube, so not everybody is in the private money club. So I don't want to show any active deals right now to kind of take away from that from the members. And we do have a bunch of deals coming in this week. Actually, Chris Rude has about $1 million in multiple single family flips that are coming to the club this week. So if anybody's looking at lending and you want to get on one of Chris Rude's deals, those pay 12% annual return, typically paid back within 4 to 6 months. And then once you're in with Chris Rude, you can kind of keep going over and over. So if anybody's looking to get in on that, I've already had a couple people reach out to me that have around $100,000 they're looking to lend right now. But if you have any amount, let us know and we can get you in on some of these Chris Rude deals if you're interested in evaluating those, taking a look at them and lending on those. I know Steve Lawson had some more deals coming up And if there's any lender or anybody on here right now, if anybody has any deals that they have coming up, maybe you're working on getting something under contract right now that you know you're going to need funding for, let us know what it is in the comments. I'm just curious if anybody has any deals, any of the borrowers on here right now. Are there any borrowers that have deals that are bringing to the table right now? Lynette, if you have, 5,000, I would say is kind of like where you'd be on the limit as far as lending. Anything less than 5,000, you might want to wait till you get a little bit more ready to deploy before getting into private lending. If you hit the 5,000 mark, we might be able to work with it. It just depends on what it is. It might be a little tougher to find a placement for that, but let us know what you got and we can try and do that. If we're putting a deal together, for instance, if someone needs 200 grand, maybe we get 100,000 from one investor, 50,000 from another investor, and then 5,000 from, 10 other investors. We can do things like that sometimes. So it just depends. Right now, Chris and I and Alan are kind of helping arrange all that. In the future, we will have a concierge service that's going to be a step-by-step process. Basically, if you want help deploying your money, you let us know how much you have, where it's coming from, and we'll help you place that money. And then depending on how much it is, you'll be charged a few points or something like that to do it. But it usually gets charged to the borrower in most cases. But we can talk more about that later on. Hey, Tech, how's it going? Okay, we have a HELOC, just worried about taking too much of it. Yeah, just let us know, Lynette, what you're doing. Send me an email or something and we can guide you. So with all that being said, let me pull up a deal here. So on the Private Money Club, there's basically two different types of documents that you're going to be looking at if you're a lender evaluating these single family flips. Now, keep in mind, in the single family, in the Private Money Club, there's lots of passive income opportunities, such as the Safari Fund, and like Jack Petrick, Petrick Group Builders has a bunch of opportunities right now that a lot of our students and members are lending to. But those are more like kind of set, you just give them the money and they do their thing. They pay you on a regular basis and the terms are kind of already set. Like you can't really negotiate. What we're talking, and we talked a lot about that last week. So if you were on last week, you probably remember. If you weren't on, go back on YouTube. YouTube at the Chris Naugle. There's a whole section for the Private Money Club. And if you subscribe on Chris's YouTube channel, you'll get alerts whenever these recordings are put up as well. So go back and watch last week's. We talked all about different passive income opportunities. Today, we're talking about individual flips. So one of our borrowers in the Private Money Club has a deal under contract. All they need to do is get the funding for it. That way they can close on it, they can rehab it, they can resell it, and everybody gets paid. So that's what we're going to evaluate right now. So on the Private Money Club, there's a couple different types of documents. First off, you'll see what's called a deal template. Right now, the deal template is, you'll see it in a second. It's just basically a PDF guide. You can plug and play. Everybody on here has access to the deal template files. It's what's inside the file vault. So if you're a Private Money Club member, you get access to the file vault, and the file vault are where all these templates are located for the deal template. In our new Private Money Club that's coming out in the next month or so, it's going to be a step-by-step process on the website. So you go onto the privatemoneyclub.com, you sign into the members area, you click on make a listing, create a listing. And what it'll do is it's basically just a step-by-step template that'll fill out everything you need to create your deal template for you. And that way somebody can go on and look at it. What we're looking at today is the PDF version of that. It's going to be basically the same, but right now it's the PDF. So this is how we'll look at them. And then the second type of document is what's called the perfect loan proposal. So the deal template is going to be everything about the deal, just a couple pages, 2-3 pages of everything you need to know to say, okay, I'm interested in that deal, or no, I'm not interested in that deal. If you're not interested in it, fine, you move on to the next one. If you're interested in that deal, however, then that'll say, okay, well, I want to take this to the next level. So let me reach out to the borrower and let's set up a phone call where I can talk with them and find out a little bit more about them. And I'm also at that time going to request the perfect loan proposal. So the perfect loan proposal is typically a 30 to 40 page plus document that gets into every single detail, not only about the deal, but about the borrower, about the borrower's experience, about the borrower's company, about the borrower's financials, their financial statements, their past tax returns, everything that you would need to know as a lender, just like a bank would use, everything that a bank would require to make a loan or not, except sometimes minus the credit score. Usually perfect loan proposals, we're not pulling credit. Sometimes we are. It just depends on who it is and what the deal is. But all of that's in the perfect loan proposal. And again, everyone in the Private Money Club has access to the perfect loan proposal, the template. You just go in and you plug and play all your information so you can build your own. Also the training on how to do it step by step. So everyone in the Private Money Club has access to that. So if you're a borrower, make sure you're starting to work on your perfect loan proposal so you have that set. So when you have a deal, you're ready to give that to the lender so the lender can look into that more, and then they can have that interview with you over the phone. And at that time, that's when you're going to start negotiating the terms of the deal, and starting to get that thing, put the mortgage and the promissory note and the contract and everything in place to get the lending done so you can get that deal closed, get the money going, get the rehab started, and get that deal paid. All right, so let me pull up, let's see. I have a handful of them. All right, let me pull up a deal template first. So this deal template is a deal that was already funded. And again, these are not deals that are available right now. These are deals that have been funded within the Private Money Club in the last month or two. So I just want to use these as examples today on how to start evaluating deals. And again, if you do have any questions, put those in the Q&A box, or if you want to comment along, put that in the chat box over on the right-hand side. Okay. Let me share my screen. All right. Can everybody see the screen properly? It should say Property Lead, Ritz Property Group, LLC, with a picture of a nice New York looking home. Can you guys see that? Yeah, someone raised their hand. Okay, perfect. All right, thank you. All right. Okay, so here we go. So this is a home. So this is what a typical deal template is going to look like. Again, this is everything you need to know to say, hey, this looks interesting. Let me take it to the next step. Or no, I'm not interested in this at this time because I'm not interested in this area or this type of home or this amount of money or whatever the case might be. So typically you're going to have the company information, a picture of the house, where the home is located, and then just the basic information of who the person is, and the price. So then we get into the property spec sheet. So again, this is stuff that's within the file vault. Everybody has access to this. It's also built into the perfect loan proposal, and this will be on the deal template on privatemoneyclub.com. So the property spec sheet is going to show you everything you need to know about that property, literally all the specifications. So you have your address, the school district, everything like you'd see on like a Zillow or a listing online about the property. So, this is a multi-unit style property, 4-bedroom, 2-bath. Looks like it was built in 1873. Pretty amazing there. Let's see. So you can go down through here. It gives you like an estimated age of the different things within the home. So everything looks like it's in pretty good condition. The furnace, the plumbing, the roof, the electrical. It's in a suburban neighborhood. Talks about supply and demand, investor owner owns, so 50-50. So it just goes into, that's in the neighborhood. So investor owner, meaning within a neighborhood, how many rental properties versus owners in that neighborhood. Yeah, Donna said, wow, even older than my 1890 home. Yeah, I guess some old homes up there in New York. Pretty amazing. All right, so and then the comparables. So all the comps are going to be attached at the bottom of here. It says who it was prepared by, which is a realtor, Hannah Duffy with Hunt Realty up in that area. Who the CMA stands for Comparable Market Analysis. And CMA is what comps are. So you'll hear the term comps or CMA, or sometimes you'll hear BPO, which is just like a commercial. That's what banks request, BPO. So BPO, CMA, comps, those are all basically the same thing. It's just comparing the subject property to other properties in the area that are similar, that are either on the market or have sold. And what we look at, and when we come up with comps, is we look at, okay, what is the market value? And the market value we determine by what's for sale now and what has sold recently, and typically in the last 6 months, within a certain mileage range, within a certain square footage, with all that, everything being similar, essentially, that can help us determine what the price of a home is worth and what it might sell for. So that's why we use comps, CMAs, and BPOs. All right, so type of deal, it's a market deal as is. The after repair value. So you'll hear that term a lot in investing. ARV, after repair or after rehab value, meaning you bought the home, you put all the work into it. You've done all the work that you plan on doing to rehab or repair the home. And then the ARV is what the value of that home would be after all of that is completed, what you're expecting that home to be. So this home right here, the contract price was $93,000. So we'll see in a minute how much work they're going to put into it and then what the profit would be compared to the ARV, the after repair value. So this is what the deal rundown shows. So you'll see here, deal rundown, summary of pricing strategy, loan information, and profit margin. So your total, I'm just going to check for questions real fast. I saw one pop up. I'm going to hit questions as we're going down through each section. So if you have anything, just let me know. Cynthia says, do you have an example of a mixed use property, i.e. a small storefront plus an apartment? Yeah, Cynthia, it'd be the same way. The only difference would be in how the, what the rents are coming in. So what the commercial side is paying versus what the apartment would be rented out as, how long the commercial's been there, what can be in there, what kind of commercial property, has the business been there for a long time? Is it empty now? What could be put in there? And then the apartment would be, is it typical for that apartment to be rented out by the store owner, maybe? Like, is it a kind of a joint deal there where whoever's owning or operating the store also lives in the apartment? Or is it completely separate? Does it have separate entrances or is it combined? Sometimes you'll see you got to walk through the business to get up to the apartment. So how's it set up? Like, all that's going to determine how the property is used, but running the numbers are the same. The numbers are the numbers. What is it doing now? What's it expected to do? And what could you do with it, after either repairing it or changing the use? So that's something we look at in real estate a lot is what's the best use of the property. So sometimes, like for instance, you'll see in land flipping, this is pretty common. Like you'll see a piece of land, but it could be rezoned to be used for something better. So what's the highest and best use of that property? And when you have mixed use properties or mixed zone properties, sometimes we'll look at that. Like, can we go in and either change the zoning or change the use of that property to be able to create more income or more, more potential for it in the future? And that's very common. You'll see that all the time in real estate investing. All right. So in this deal right here, back to this deal sheet on here. So the purchase price, $93,000. There's no assignment fee. Assignment fee if the property was being wholesaled or if you were buying from a wholesaler would charge what's called an assignment fee or a wholesale fee. So what would happen is, just as an example, let's say I had a property under contract for $100,000. Well, if I'm the end buyer, I'm buying that home for $100,000. $100,000 is what's recorded. It's what's going to be on the sale of the property, on the contract, everything. However, if I was a wholesaler and I had that property, I would also charge, let's say in my contract, there would be a $5,000 assignment fee. And what that means is I, as the wholesaler, have this property under contract for $100,000, but I'm willing to sell this contract to somebody else for a assignment fee of $5,000. And if that was the case in the contract at closing, the end buyer would buy the home for the $100,000, and they would also have to pay $5,000 out to that wholesaler in that assignment fee. So if that was in there, then that would be there. As an example, we buy a lot of our rental properties from wholesalers. So we always have to build that into the numbers, whatever the price of the home is, plus whatever that assignment fee is. Just when you're running your numbers, you just want to make sure you have, I see that a lot with flipping. People will forget like one little part of it. Like in the file vault, for instance, that's why we give you what's called a closing cost estimator, because a lot of people will like forget the closing costs or part of the closing costs, and then it throws their numbers off, or they might forget holding fees. Because when you're rehabbing a property, time is money, because you're paying interest to the lender, whoever you borrowed the money from, whether it's a bank or whether it's a private money lender, hard money, whatever it is. You're also paying taxes. You're also paying insurance. You have all these costs that are going out. These are called holding fees. A lot of new flippers will forget to build holding fees into their estimates. So what happens is, let's say it's $3,000 a month in holding fees. The deal takes 6 months. That's $18,000 in holding fees. Well, let's say you were planning on making $25,000 on that flip. You're like, all right, this is awesome. I'm gonna make a $25,000 profit on this deal. And then you get to the end and you're like, oh shit, I forgot holding fees, and all of a sudden 18,000 of your 25,000 is gone just because you forgot one little thing in it. And all of a sudden you made 7 grand instead of 25 grand. So it's all the little things like that. And that's why we create templates. And that's why we create these different documents and forms to help guide you so you don't make those beginner mistakes. Or even once you're in the business, it's easy to overlook little things. So that's why you want systems and processes in place at all times. And that's why we have all this stuff here for you. So you'll see on here though, everything I was just talking about. So no assignment fee, the closing costs are $2,300, scope of work, $2,475, loan payments. So this is just breaking down what the interest will be paid out, which looks like it could be $5,000 over 6 months. Again, the holding carry cost that I was just talking about, they have it in there. It's going to be almost $3,000 over 6 months. They did not get an inspection or appraisal on this property as they did not need to. So the total project cost is $105,717. We look over here for the loan information. They're looking for 75%, would be 97. So they're actually looking for $100,000 for this deal. They're not paying any points, and they were willing to pay 10% annual interest, and that would be paid out monthly. So they pay you, they're willing to pay the lender $833 a month in interest. And then once the deal's done, then return the money. So that's the way that would look. And basically 833, and I'm not doing the math, somebody can do it if they want, but that should be $100,000 at 10% annual divided by 12, which there's 12 months in a year. Again, it's paid out monthly. So that 833.33 times 12, should add up to $10,000, which would be 10% of 100,000, which is the loan amount that they're asking for. So the probable sale price, again, this is using the comps in the area. ARV minus any kind of discount is 130,000. The total project cost is 105 minus the closing cost. So they're projecting their profit to be 22,000. Money out of pocket. So this is the actual amount borrowed. Estimated amount needed to complete the project, total project cost minus the actual amount borrowed. So this will be coming from them. So they're borrowing 100, they're putting 5,700 in themselves. And that's the way that the numbers turn out on this deal for this deal template. And then it gets into the scope of work, the holding costs, all that good stuff. So again, the property information, and they did a great job with this. They put their logo up here in the top right corner. And again, when you're borrowing, or when you're borrowing money, do you want to look like a professional, or do you want to look like, this is your first time ever doing it like a rookie? If I'm lending my money and somebody gives me like just like a random, if I just took a bunch of notes on a napkin and I'm like, okay, here's the information, here's the numbers for the house. This is what I think I'm going to need. I think it's going to cost me about $3,000 to do new flooring. I think it's going to cost me about $20,000 to the kitchen. I think it's going to cost me about $15,000 to put new windows. No, you want to be exact, right? You want to say, okay, I've done the work. I know exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be $5,300 for the flooring. It's going to be $15,600 for windows. Like, you want to know exactly what you're talking about, and you want to have the confidence to do so. And that, along with having a professional, perfect loan proposal, deal template, things to present that you could do, that's going to give you the most success. And so those of you in the private money club, that's why we require any borrowers to have the deal template, to have the perfect loan proposal, because when you're a lender, we want that lender to have that professional experience and be able to have everything right there and not have to guess, not have to wonder about anything. It's all right there for them. So in here, we're going to get into it. All the closing costs, all the estimates, the property taxes and fees. So everything included in there, which are, go into the holding costs. Again, holding costs include taxes. So right here, it highlights it, holding carry costs. You have water, sewer up there. You have utilities, insurance, lawn maintenance, snow removal. So that's all stuff that they came up with their total holding carrying costs per month. You have all your closing costs. So they have an attorney fee in there, transfer fee, miscellaneous, different insurances, things like that. So everything's built into the cost. So again, this is showing you as a lender, hey, these guys have thought of every little thing that goes into this deal. So when they tell me, hey, this is going to sell for this amount, this is how much we're going to make on it, I feel pretty good about lending my money because this looks like it's going to be a good deal. Everything's right there. I need to make that decision. And then if everything's right there, so scope of work, looks like they're doing very minimal work to this deal. So they're putting in a laundry hookup, they're putting in a new rear door, and they're doing some drywall finishing work. They're covering the stairs to the upper, and that gives them their total cost. So very, very, very little work required. It looks like they're getting a great deal on the home. They're doing a little bit of work. They're going to get right back on the market very quickly. They have it priced properly, probably. We'll check at that in a minute when we get to the comps, but they have it priced properly. And that's what we want. Quick flips. Again, in this market, things happen quickly. You know, if we start seeing downturns in stocks, if we start seeing crazy things going on in the world, in the economy, in the markets, real estate's going to start following some of that. So we might start seeing corrections in the real estate markets. So we want to get into these quick flips, maybe stay away from some of the longer term $1 million deals that take lots and lots of work, like a home that needs to go in and be gutted down to the studs, and like every little thing needs to be redone. I mean, if that takes 6 to 8 months, what if the market turns? You know, so that's all things that we think about. Maybe we do lend on that depending on where it is and how much we're getting paid to lend on it. Like what's the interest? You know, this is 10%. It's not a lot of money. It's very quick. Not a lot of work needed to done. It's quickly done. Boom, 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 paid and out. So 10% makes sense. But maybe on a little bigger project or more money involved or whatever the case, maybe I want 12%, 14%. Maybe I want 10% plus 2, 3, 4 points. You know, so that's all goes back to the negotiating. Okay, so the cash flow estimator. Again, this is just going to get into, okay, what are they doing with this property? It looks like, it looks like they're going to rent this one out actually. So this is all for the end buyer too, whatever they're doing with it, but all the information's here. So if they were to rent it, the upper or the lower would go for $795. The other upper or lower would go for $700. Again, in Florida, this is what we call a duplex. They're side by side. I guess in New York, the duplexes are up and down. So again, it just goes back through the numbers all over again, just so you can see everything just in another format. It gets into the mortgage amount, all that good stuff. It's going to show you the total cash flow. So this is on an annual basis. So it does look like they're going to rent this one out actually. So maybe this was a long-term deal. You know, so where that comes from, how it all comes to be, what's the net monthly cash flow. So it looks like this thing will be net cash flow about $377 a month, about $4,800 a year after everything's said and done, including the debt service. Again, the debt service is that private money loan. So we have net operating income. So if this is a long-term rental that they're lending or that somebody was lending on, and that's what this deal is, it has everything right there to show you what it's going to be. And then the best part is for the landlord, for the owner, is all the appreciation on top of that monthly cash flow. So $377 a month, not a lot of money, but makes a car payment. Part of a car payment. You know, that's what we look for. A lot of times in real estate, you know, it makes it fun. Like, hey, I want a new boat. Okay, that's $1,000 a month. Let me go create enough rental income to pay for that boat. And then I'll use that money to go buy it. Or maybe I want to buy a new car. It's going to be $700 a month. Well, I need enough rental money coming in to pay for that new car, where it's providing me $700 a month that I can use that money to make my car payment. Okay, I want to buy a vacation home on a lake in the mountains in North Carolina. I don't know. Well, that's going to be a $700,000 home with let's say a $4,000 a month operating cost, mortgage, you know, just whatever's in it. Okay, I know now I need to go out there and create enough monthly income to pay me $4,000 a month. That's going to pay for my cabin in the mountains. So you just start looking at these cash flowing properties, these cash flowing loans as, what are you doing in life? Like, what are you trying to pay for? You know, maybe you're building retirement. How much do I need to come in on a regular basis to pay for my retirement? So this is how we start building out. How much do you need to acquire? How many funds do you need to lend out on a regular basis to create that income coming in? And this is how you start looking on that. And then the great thing about owning real estate is not only do you get the monthly income, but then you get the appreciation along the way as well. Because I mean, how many of you bought homes since 2008 up until last year? Well, if you did, you probably got a pretty good deal on those homes compared to what they're worth today. Today's market, homes have gone way, way up in the last 8-10 months. since COVID, a little after COVID hit, home prices started skyrocketing. But if you had bought homes after the last crash in 2008, you probably have, if you're like some of the properties that I've seen that we have, 70, 80% or more in appreciation growth. I mean, homes we were buying for 50, 60, $70,000 all of a sudden right now are worth 200, $250,000. It's crazy. So you have that appreciation in there on top of them creating a cash flow on a monthly basis. So some advantages to owning real estate. Again, private lending, great way to be involved in that, create the monthly cash flow without having to deal with the actual real estate. So just different ways to look at all this, just kind of talking since this is the Private Money Club. All right, I see a couple questions coming in. Let me see. If a store is empty, would you do a minimal repairs and let the renter fix it up to suit himself or make it move-in ready? No immediate prospects. Yeah, so if you have a commercial property, a storefront, depending on, if it's a restaurant, they're going to need to do a lot of build out, obviously, to make it how they want it. If it's a retail shop, it's going to be a little bit more minimal. They might want to put in certain types of like display cases or countertops, depending on the type of business. So a lot of times you'll want to just keep it open and clean. So when somebody comes in, it looks nice and clean, and then let them know in the lease, hey, you can do what you want with this, and you'll work with them on that aspect. But I wouldn't go make it move-in ready unless you know what type of business is going in there. If you know the type of business that's going in, then yeah, you can get it ready. You could probably ask more. Otherwise, make it clean and ready to move in and advertise it. Hey, I'm willing to work with you on building this out, possibly depending on what you're doing, or just let them do all the work and just, it depends on what you want to do with it. But I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. There's just a lot of variables in there. Could we drill down on calculating repairs some of these days? Yeah, Cynthia, we can definitely talk about calculating repairs. I mean, the best way to do that is just, we have different sheets that can estimate. The problem is different areas are, costs are different. What a roof costs in Florida was going to be a lot different than what a roof costs in New York. We have different building codes in Florida because of hurricanes compared to what they have in other areas. And then the other issue that we're having right now with any kind of like templated type calculations for repairs are just the overall cost of materials have skyrocketed lately. I mean, lumber, everybody probably knows that, but lumber has just gone crazy. Like the pricing for wood right now is just out of this world. So it's kind of, we really need to update a lot of that. But anytime you really want to get into calculating repairs, that's where your power team is going to come in. So anytime you get into like real estate investing or you start learning, one of the first things that your mentor or your trainers are going to talk about are going to be building a power team or a network that's going to help you. And these are people like contractors, appraisers, people that can go in and start giving you an idea. One of the things you're going to do if you don't have the experience on your own to be able to go in and know what the cost of stuff is to have a contractor go with you, or have a contractor go and put together a detailed proposal on everything that needs to be done. And then after you do that a few times, you'll start learning. And if it's a contractor that you've used before, you have a good relationship with, they're not going to charge you because they know they're going to get the work from you in the future. If it's a new relationship, and contractors are very busy right now, you tell them, hey, I'm willing to pay you for this proposal. And then if I do contract you to do the work, let's just take that out of the whatever I'm paying you now, we'll just take that out of the work once it goes down. So there's different ways to work that, but take care of your power team. If you have, as an example, if you have realtors putting together comps and CMAs for you, realtors don't get paid to do that kind of thing. So if they're doing a lot of CMAs for you and you're not using them to buy the homes right away, buy them a gift card to a nice restaurant or give them a gift card to Amazon, but take care of them and they'll work with you over time. I've done realtor work off and on for 15 years. I've been a licensed realtor, and it goes a long way when somebody sends you even like $100 gift card. You might do a lot more than $100 worth of work, and you might get their business later on as well. But getting those little gift cards and little gifts like that and little treats, it goes a long way in the eyes of a realtor. Same thing with contractors, same thing with appraisers, all that kind of thing. Like take care of them, and they'll take care of you in the long run. So yeah, I mean, that's the best way, Cynthia, especially starting out, is just have those contractors go in there, especially right now, because things are back ordered, prices are kind of out of whack right now. So you want to make sure you're getting it right. And you always want to overestimate, give a 10% cushion in there. Remember, if you're making money on a deal, if you lose money, it's not fun, right? So you always want to build a little cushion. Nobody ever got mad about making more money on something. And I know numbers are tight right now. It's a competitive market, but that's going to change sooner than later. So get ready. All right. But we can definitely talk more about, Cynthia, if you have any more specific questions on how to calculate things, we can do that. All right. So back to this spreadsheet real fast. So now we're going to see, or the deal sheet, I should say. So now it just shows. So this is the lower unit. So always take good pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. I'm a big believer in that. As a lender, the more pictures, the better. I like to be able to see, okay, they're telling me it only needs a roof on the rear porch, but in the picture, I can see that bathroom is going to need some attention, or that kitchen is going to need some attention. I'm not saying in this case it does. I'm just saying pictures really, really help, especially if the property's not in my area. Like if I'm lending in Lockport, New York, I'm not going to Lockport to look at this. I'm relying on this investor and this deal template and the perfect loan proposal to make my decision. So the more, the better. Upper unit. And you may even put, the best pictures on here, but then tell them, hey, I have a link to a Google Drive folder that has 100 more photos in it. So if you want to see more photos, here's like the basic ones. Here's the link to more. The more, the better. Okay, guys? All right. So again, they put some different images, and these are great. This is a great example of what you want to do. You want to show the breaker box. This is me as an investor. I can look at the electrical. In some cases, I might see an electrical panel and say, I know that's never going to pass an inspection, so you're going to run into electrical issues down the road. Now, this looks fine. I'm just saying, those are things that I look for. Looks like it has a couple different hot water heaters, some kind of furnace type deal. All right. And then this just shows a little again about the private lending. So 10% annual, interest paid monthly, 1 year with an optional extension to 18 months. So what that would mean is basically 1 year tops. In 1 year, they would pay you back unless you decided that you wanted to add an extension on, in which case the terms would stay the same. It was just extended for another 18 months. Sometimes borrowers were asked for that just in case, or if it's like it looks like this property is a rental. They might be willing, the owner, the landlord, the borrower for this, they might be interested in, hey, listen, let's do it for a year, but if you want to stay on at 10% for another 18 months, we can do that. And then we'll go to the bank and and what a bank does is a bank won't lend on this deal straight up, but once it's seasoned, once there's proven income coming in for 12 months or 18 months or 24 months or whatever that bank requires, then that's what allows the investor to go get traditional financing from the bank, or maybe commercial financing or through their company after the property's seasoned. Then they can take that money and pay off the investor, because the bank at that point, once it's seasoned, will more than likely lend to them for less than 10%, let's say 4% or 5% or 6%. So of course they're going to do that over 30 years amortized versus continuing to pay an investor higher interest when there's no need to pay that higher interest. So that's why a lot of times these these long-term hold properties, why an investor would look for a private lender to start with, and then they'll cash the investor out later on. Multifamily deals are done that way a lot of the time as well. Okay, so you can do first position on this. They're giving you an option. Obviously, if you have an option, always take first position. And then everything we talked about before. This is just a recap of it all in one place. So the purchase price, the rehab cost, including the holding cost, the total investment, the sale price, and the lender return on the investment, assuming that was to stay out. It looks like they're expecting to pay back in 6 months on this one, actually. So we would just have to find out a little bit more information from Kevin, exactly what they were doing with this. It looks like they plan on cashing the investor out in 6 months. So maybe they are going to get a renter in place. Maybe they're doing a turnkey rental, which is where an investor will rehab it, get the renter in place, get a property manager in place, and then sell it to another investor that wants to buy the rental, but they don't want to do all that work of finding the home, rehabbing the home, putting the renter in, and getting it under management. So somebody like Kevin will go and do that, find another investor that wants to buy it as a rental, long-term hold property, sell it to them, and then cash everybody out and move on to the next one. So there's lots of different ways to do real estate. And again, that's why we love real estate, because there's so many different options out there for this kind of thing. So that's an example of a deal template. Let me give you an example of a perfect loan proposal. Now, this perfect loan proposal, I'm not going to get into all of it because let me do this one. So these are a couple, wait, let me see. Yeah, so these are our private money club members, John and Lori. So I'll use theirs as an example. So this deal was already funded. I just want to show you what this perfect loan proposal, one of them looks like, so you guys have the information, or so you know what to expect. And I'll skip over the part when it comes to the financials and whatnot, because obviously I don't want to disclose all of their information. So let me get into this. And again, if you guys have any questions, just put them up there, please. Okay. All right. So this is the perfect loan proposal. Everybody has access to this, and the training is in there for you. So the front page information about who the company is, just a pretty cover page more than anything. And then the table of contents. So you'll see section 1, all about the company. Section 2, the experience of the company. So completed deals that they've done. Number 3, the financials of the company. 4, the information about the company. 5, the tax returns of the company and the investors. 6, credit reports. Again, they've gone in, they've created credit reports. We show you how to do all this. But a lot of times it's good to have that. Again, we wanted to mimic a perfect loan proposal where if you were going to the bank to get lending right now, you could actually, we've done it, take the perfect loan proposal with you and basically just hand it to the banker at the bank. And it's every single thing that they would ask you for anyways. So that's what the perfect loan proposal is. So you could take this right to the bank and use it as well. Section 7. So then after the first 6 sections, all about them, their experience, their company, who they are, then we get into the deal details. And that's where, once you create this first part, these first 6 parts, it takes time. I'm not going to lie. This takes several hours to do, but this is a business, right? Especially if you're a borrower, this is your business. So make this look as good as possible. Make this look as professional as possible. But once you get this first 6 parts done, obviously you can update it over time, but once you have it done, it's ready to start plugging in every deal that you have coming in moving forward. So deal 7 or section 7 is the deal. Section 8, the comps for that deal. Section 9, the scope of work for that deal. And then it goes down from there. So like I said, so about us, Custom Quality Millwork was founded in 2012 as a retail and residential construction company, and just tells you a little bit about what they got into doing and what they do now, their mission statement, their vision. And again, this is all templated. So if you're creating one of those, we literally say mission statement, add your text here. Your vision, add your text here. On the cover page, what's your company name? Like put your information in, insert your logo here. So all this is done for you. You just follow right along. It's very, very easy, if a little time consuming. Okay. So it tells you about their vision, who they are, even these pretty little logos right here. Like that's all, just stuff. And you can delete them out. You can skip pages if you want to. It's completely up to you. Okay. So their leadership. So John and Lori, they tell a little bit about themselves. They're pretty pictures, and they do an excellent job as well. So their company and numbers. So 5 wonderful people working as a cohesive team and ready to help achieve your objectives. 9 beautiful years of continued success, achievements, and growth. 200 plus incredible projects that they've worked on for past and present clients. They're just building up their credibility. They're building up their experience. So me as a lender, I'm like, okay, so they've been doing this for 9 years. They have 5 people on their team, so them and some other people. So they're already managing other people. So what is it? They've worked on 200 projects in the past, either for themselves or for clients. So again, they're just building up about themselves and their experience. So pivotal operational principles. So these are, what guide their business, it looks like, which is really cool. I love all that. Servant leadership. Very, very cool. And then it shows some of the deals that they've done. So these are past deals. This is showing me as a lender, hey, these guys have done deals in the past. So this isn't their first rodeo. So I'm feeling a little bit better about this. If it was someone's first time deal, fine. Like the completed real estate deal, if this is your first loan proposal, maybe talk about deals that you've done for yourself in the past. Maybe you bought and sold a home on your own and you did some rehab work on it. Or maybe you've never done anything in real estate. Well, in that section, put, what is your training? Hey, I'm working with Justin Colby. He's teaching me this business. Or, hey, I've worked with, fortune builders in the past, and I've gone through, $60,000 of their education, and I've learned from them and my mentors. Or, hey, I have this mentor in New York named Chris Naugle that's teaching me exactly what to do on these deals. Like whatever that is, like whatever your experience is or whatever your past is, put that in there. Like that's what this section is all for. So in this case, they had some completed real estate deals, so they put those in here. So they had bought a $25,000 house. They put $40,000 into it, $10,000 in closing costs. It took them 6 months, and they made $32,000 on it. So that's an excellent deal. Wholesale took them 120 days. They made $21,000 on it. A wholesale is when a wholesale is when you take a property, put it under contract, and sell that contract before you ever close on the property. Or in some states, you might do a dual closing or a simultaneous closing, which is when you close on it at the exact same time that the other buyer's closing on it. Some states that legally has to happen. So it just depends on where you are. Those are a wholesale. Wholesale is where you do close on the property and you actually do own it for a little time. It just doesn't really need any work. Or maybe it just needs some paint on the walls, like very, very minimal, like essentially no work. And you just take it and you resell it without really doing anything to it. So it's kind of like a combination between a wholesale and a retail flip. So wholesale, that's where that comes in. So this one that they did, they made 21 grand on without doing any work. It looks like a BRRRR, which is buy, rehab, repair. I'm sorry, buy, repair, rent, refinance, repeat. It's just a strategy for an investor to be able to build up a rental portfolio, season the property, and then move on to the next one. And that's a great strategy, especially when the market comes down and you're able to start buying homes at a good price again, and you want to take advantage of the appreciation. Over time, real estate's always going to go up. So if you can buy low, you can season that property, you can get the rental income like I was talking about earlier, and then also have that natural appreciation where later you can either take it and pull equity out, cash out refi, or get a HELOC on it, or sell the home completely outright and make all that extra money from the equity. That's BRRRR is one of the best strategies out there. Chris actually was in the process of trademarking or copywriting the BRRRR, BRRR. And then obviously we have Devin Burr on our team, who is known as Mr. Burr on social media and does lots and lots of these BRRRR strategies. So awesome strategy to follow for building your rental portfolio. Cynthia asked, what do you really think of fortune builders? Hey, Cynthia, I think that fortune builders, just like all the large seminar companies that have been out there over the years, I will never talk down on them, because I know a lot of people that have been through their programs that have made a lot of money, and it's changed the direction of their life, and it's given them the resources and the confidence to go out there and do what they need to do to make that change in their life. Chris Naugle, doesn't hide this. He spent, I want to say, around $80,000 with a company called, I believe it was Xerox back in the day, which is just like Fortune Builders, a larger seminar company, one of those large real estate educational companies, that does that kind of thing. And look what it's done for Chris Naugle. He's able to flip 260 some homes following their education and using their resources, and, started to show risky builders on HGTV thanks to all that. So it has, its purpose for some people. Do I think you can go out there and get a lot of those same resources, training, mentorship for less? Yeah. I think that there's some fluff built into them, but that's because they're pretty large operations. They have a lot of marketing. They have a lot of people that they pay. They have a lot of money going out. And there's a lot that goes into it just from being behind the scenes on a lot of those companies over the years. So I don't want to say anything bad about them by any means. I do think they have a great use. I just don't think it's right for everybody. And what I don't like is when they get into some of the higher pressure sales. Like I know there's a lot of high pressure sales, like do this or you're a loser type thing. And I don't like that kind of thing, but it can be done right. And, and Fortune Builders is a good company. I mean, they've been around for a while. And from the people I've talked to that work with them or that have been students with them, they typically do things the right way. So, I would say they're probably one of the better companies that are out there, or at least this was before COVID. I know a lot of these companies have changed directions a lot after COVID hit, just because they weren't able to go out there and do what they do with the live events. So I'm not sure in the last year or so what's going on, but prior to that, they were a good company, if not expensive. Okay. So back to the perfect loan proposal. So again, I'm not going to get into the next section is going to be the personal financials. So let me stop my share. Let me just scroll down past the personal financial stuff. So everything that I'm scrolling past right now is all about the company, their personal financials, their credit score, their Dun & Bradstreet score, which is basically a company credit rating, their own credit rating, all their bank account information, past accounts, all that is the stuff that I just scrolled through. That's in the perfect loan proposal. Again, if you're creating a perfect loan proposal, and you don't have some of that yet, or you don't want to put it in there yet, just skip over that section. You don't have to put this stuff, but when you get to the point where you're actually looking to borrow money, you're probably going to need it in there, because me as a lender, I'm going to want to see a lot of that. So make sure you at least start preparing it and getting it ready. And we'll tell you exactly what to do when you're creating that perfect loan proposal. All right, I'm going to start my share one more time to show you the end now of this perfect loan proposal. So you'll see this looks very, very similar to the deal template that I was showing you at the beginning of this for the Ritz group. So this is on page 48. So I just showed you like the first 12 pages or so of the perfect loan proposal. The next 30 pages I skipped over were all the financials and personal information and company information. And now on page 48, we're starting back up with the deal. So you'll see John and Lori on this deal. They, very similar to the last deal sheet. So all the information about it, what's going on with it, what's the bedrooms, the baths, 105-year-old home, what's going on with the gas. So everything you would need to know on it, different comps. So these are comps in the area, what they sold for. DOM stands for days on market. So when the property was listed to when it was sold, days on market, when it was sold. So all that good information is on there. Any information about those comps. Recommended repairs. So, this is what they're putting into it. So, and I love how they have it down to the penny. Again, that gives me confidence. Hey, they're not estimating. They know they're going to pay a contractor $365.52 to fix the cabinetry. They know what the demolition cost is. They know what the flooring is down to the penny. Like, that's what I like to see as a lender. So excellent job there. Oh, and what I tell you earlier, they even did that. They even built in, you see line 12 right here? They built in a 10% margin, meaning if they're wrong, or if the price of stuff goes up in this market, they have a 10% margin built in. And they even thought about what? The tax on that material. Now, if you start running things, if you're doing investing, there's ways to, not pay taxes depending on the state you're in and things like that. But I love how they have all of this built into this. So it shows you everything you need to know. All the information, again, just the deal rundown. We went over this earlier, so I'm not going to do it again. But again, it's all within the perfect loan proposal. It's the form we looked at, the cash flow evaluator. It's kind of hard to see on the screen right now, but there we go. So the cash flow evaluator. So again, just shows you everything that you need to know. Summary. So the entity name, the property address, again, just a nice recap of everything. The net profit, percentage of ARV. I don't think John and Lori are on here. If they were, I'd ask them what actually happened with this deal, because I know it was funded a little while back. I wonder what the actual profit ended up being. So again, the deal summary sheet, everything that you need to know, I just want to make sure I don't hit. Okay, so then we get into pictures. So again, what I say earlier, the pictures are a good thing. So you can kind of see it from afar. You know, all the pertinent stuff like the appliances, the heating and cooling, the electrical. It's like a nice electrical panel. All the pictures and then the comps. So we have the review of the comps above and then the supporting documents for the comps below. So if you're like, I'd like to know more about that comp, boom, you scroll down and you have all the information right here. Looks like these were professionally done, which is nice. So everything I would need to know there about the comps. And then one final scope of work, telling us all the information one more time. So I know everything I need to know as a lender. Oh, they even broke it down to exactly what it's going to cost for every little thing. The deck guardrail, the rough-in plumbing, the windows, everything. So well done, John and Lori, on this one. I can see why you guys got it funded quickly, and it looks like it's going to be an awesome deal. So a couple questions come in, and we're going to wrap things up. I'm going a little long again today. It's been almost an hour. Could those repair costs be broken down further to material and labor, or is that not necessarily necessary? Yeah, Cynthia, I think you just saw where, you know, they gave it in the summary and then they gave the supporting documents down below, and it looks like they actually did that for you. So, you know, right as you asked that, we got down to it. So again, the perfect loan proposal, we've tried to think of every little single thing that a bank and a lender or a lender, whether that be a bank or you, a private money loan, would think of everything you would need to know about that deal. Jeff says, first time catching this live, really good. What is the website with all the information for membership, loans, investing, etc.? Jeff, it's Private Money Club. This is the Private Money Club. If you're not a member yet, I will put the link for where you can join. Right now, it is moneyschooltraining.com/private-money-club. So I will put that in the chat box as well. Hang on one second. Now, the Private Money Club right now is ran through Slack and Teachable. We are busy building out the it's privatemoneyclub.com. So members will go on privatemoneyclub.com, log in, you'll go into the member area, and everything's going to be on our own website. So it's going to be very, very nice. I was working with the tech team all last week, getting that built out and getting everything done. So we'll probably have that done in the next month or so. So look out for that. But so eventually that's where you'll go to sign up. If you're watching a recording of this later, privatemoneyclub.com. But for right now, it is that moneyschooltraining.com/private-money-club. All right. And Arthur, yes, same thing. Cynthia, different topic, but is there a national database available that breaks down property and school taxes by municipality? Yeah, I mean, if you go on like Zillow or Redfin or any of those real estate websites, they typically always have what taxes, what municipality, what school district, all of that stuff is typically right there for you on the listing. And any MLS, so any realtor can pull that information for you as well. But nationally speaking, any of those Zillow type sites should provide all of that information for you. If you're an investor, I would highly recommend checking out what's called Flipping Edge. Flipping Edge is basically powered by PropStream. PropStream is a very, very powerful investor software that allows you to search, pull comps, do all kinds of crazy things with marketing and everything. Flipping Edge is built on that platform, but it's built specifically for real estate investors. So Chris actually helped design Flipping Edge when he was doing all those 260 some flips. So if you're interested in checking that out, we have a 7-day free trial. I just put that in the chat box over on the side. It's signup.flippingedge.com/flipout. And that should take you to it. Are you going to do a webinar on multifamily greater than 5 units? Yeah, Arthur, I can definitely do that. My multifamily expert I work primarily with our members right now is a guy named Jack Petrick. I know a lot of our Private Money Club members are investing with him right now as well. So I will definitely ask Jack to come on maybe after the 4th, or if since it's kind of like the day after a holiday, it might be the 12th of July. But we'll definitely get him on. That's a great idea. I'm going to write it down right now. Jack P. on Money Club Mondays. I love it. Great idea, author. I will get Jack on and we will do an entire Monday just on evaluating and how private lending looks for multifamily investments. Again, one more time, we're at an hour right now, so I'm going to wrap things up. So thank you so much for being here, guys. Next week, I'm going to have Brent Carlson on with me of Corporate Capital. He's going to be talking all about taxes and using LLCs to do private money lending and for borrowing. So he's going to be on. So if you have any questions for that, get ready for it. I'll get Jack Petrick on with me to talk about multifamily in the next couple of weeks. But hopefully you guys have a great week this week. Rock and roll. Get your money out there working for you. Get those deals funded. Get those deals closed. Get those deals rehabbed and get paid on those deals. That's what it's all about. Join us Wednesday morning for What the F Happened. We got a lot to talk about the stock markets. After about 1,000-point drop in the Dow last week, the markets boomed about 500 points this morning. I don't know where they're at right now. We think that we're going to see a big drop later this week. So we'll see what happens. We got a lot to talk about Wednesday morning. That's live streamed all over social media on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We do the Wealth Webinar Wednesday series every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. So join us for that. Chris and I have a 4-week series going on that. Right now, we're in week 2 of that this week. So super excited for that. And then 4:30 Eastern every Wednesday, we do Ask Me Anything, where we literally ask all of your questions live on Zoom. And I know we got a lot of other really awesome stuff going on right now. So stick around the campfire. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next Monday for Money Club Mondays, and we'll see you on the Private Money Club. You guys have a great day. Thanks so much.